Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another apartment renovation video, and today I'm renovating one of the Culpepper house apartments. I'm not sure what the address is, but if you look on the top left hand side of the screen, you can see which apartment I did build this in. It's the one that has the historical plaque on the wall that you cannot remove, which isn't always the greatest thing to have to work around, but I managed to work around it. But I also thought it was kind of cool for the person that I had in mind for this apartment. Since I built this apartment right after Jungle Adventure was released, I did design it to be for like an archaeologist sim or at least a traveler sim, so I kind of thought the historical plaque would be kind of cool, and maybe they decided to live in this apartment because they like the historical aspect of it and are just interested in history and culture and stuff like that in general. So I thought that was kind of cool. But anyways, I did build this a long time ago, like I mentioned, right after Jungle Adventure was released. So 2 months ago, a month ago, I'm not really sure, a long time ago. I'm pretty sure it's been like a month at least. And for whatever reason, I think it was just because there was like, I don't know, a gap in between building it and editing it, and then I just kind of lost interest and wasn't that excited to share it. Not that I don't like this apartment, I do really like it. Every time I look at the screenshots, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a cool apartment. I like some things that I did in here. But for whatever reason, I'm just now sharing it. But I hope you guys do like it. If you do like some of my more rustic industrial looking builds, you'll probably like this one because it's kind of industrial. It's pretty rustic. I use these rustic floorboards and the industrial countertops and went for a very dark and natural looking theme and tried to use a lot of Jungle Adventure stuff, of course, and I tried to make it look like this person that lives in this apartment has collected stuff from all over the world. And I imagine they choose to live in San Myshuno because they really like the cultural diversity of the city. So I, used some of like the cool artwork that came with city living in this apartment, and I don't know, I think it turns out really nice. I especially like the office area that's off to the right of the living room. I do the archaeologist table in there, a bookshelf, and a desk, of course. And I just really like the clutter that I use, and I use some debug objects, which I think just kind of make the whole office space kind of unique and a pretty cool room. But of course, if you needed more space or more bedrooms, you could renovate that room to be something else, like a bedroom or, anything that you had in mind. But I did imagine that a single sim lived in this apartment, but you could of course have a couple because there is a double bed in the bedroom. The bedroom is pretty good size. I mean, you could probably even cut it in half, maybe. Then you might have a window issue, which is always kind of a problem with the city living apartments. So you can't change the exterior windows. So if you make the rooms kind of a weird shape, then you lose out on window space, which you have to have windows in a bedroom. But yeah, I guess you could probably squeeze 2 rooms out of that and just kind of have roommates with single beds. That doesn't sound like too much fun though. I probably wouldn't do that. But something that I do like in this apartment is I did want to separate the living room space from the dining area. Well, there's no dining, but the kitchen area, there's only bar stools. There's no actual dining, but I use these windows to separate the space, which I think looks really cool. And I don't think it's that big of a deal that they don't have a dining table, since I imagine this sim to not really be here a lot. I imagine they go out on their travels and adventure and collect and get all of their treasures and then bring them home and store them here in this apartment. So they're not always here that often, and yeah, I don't know, I think that makes a lot of sense. And so something that I did do is I sized up one of the boxy TVs to look like a really old boxy TV like they had in the 80s and 90s, which I thought looked pretty funny, and imagine that they just had this old hand-me-down TV and they just don't care about upgrading at all because they're never at home to watch it, and when they are, they're like, well, it works to watch whatever show I want to watch, so it doesn't matter if it's the top of the line TV. And I think I even put a more boxy computer, not like a really nice computer, in here as well, because definitely imagined they are out and about exploring the city and the jungle and whatever else. Probably Granite Falls as well. They go everywhere because I put fish on the wall. I put a frog in here. I put some collectibles from Jungle Adventure, and like I said, artwork and stuff from City Living. So I tried to make a whole mesh of different stuff and give it kind of that collected vibe, like everything's just kind of been pieced together. So hopefully you guys do like it. Definitely let me know what you guys think. But now I'm working on the office area, and like I said, this is probably my favorite space in the house because I think it just looks so cozy and I just like the way I decorate it. But something that I fell in love with while decorating this apartment was that new square coffee table that came with Jungle Adventure, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh great, another square coffee table that's in a rustic style. Like, we already have 2 of those, why do we need another one? but I absolutely love how it has those different wood tones in the top, and I just think it's so pretty. Like, I want one in real life. Like, I need to show it to my husband and, like, please build this for me, because he loves to woodwork, so why not build me something like that? I think I should just show it to him and be like, hey, build this for me, please, because it's so pretty. I love it so much. And I also really like this little area that I did over here by the chair, and I just put little knickknacks and clutter items up on that side table, which I think looks super cute, and I had a lot of fun using those Day of the Dead statue dolls. They're like the skeleton dolls. I think those look really cool over there, and I kind of sized one down to look like it was a different size, and I thought that was a pretty cool little detail. And yeah, I did have a lot of fun decorating this apartment. I think the reason I was kind of unsure about it is because I have done this apartment before when I did my scientist apartment, and I did the exact same floor plan. There may have been, I think the bedroom was a little bit smaller and there was an actual dining space. No, I think there wasn't. But like the living room and kitchen and the office area, everything was placed in the same area. And I think it just made me feel a little bit less creative because I did pretty much the same thing. And yeah, I think that was kind of my whole reasoning for having like a slow pace at sharing it, I guess is the way you could say it. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's why. But anyway, so I'm back in the office just sort of adding some finishing touches. I do this rustic brick wall, which I think looks so pretty. And I put this sort of beautiful collectible piece. I'm not really sure what it is, but it's like that beautiful wall hanging from Jungle Adventure that's like this gold broken plate inside this glass case. Looks so pretty. And then I do add some little sugar skulls and other little decorations and clutter up the desk a lot with different little items. I end up replacing that snow globe for a lantern later on because I just felt like that would look a little bit better. And then of course a bunch of postcards because they've met so many friends on their travels throughout the world and the different cities, and so they got to keep in contact. So I imagine they have lots of pen pals. If I were to play in this apartment, I would definitely probably make sure I was collecting as many of those as possible. And at this point, I felt like the entryway was a little bit odd. Like you just kind of walked in and it was a little bit open, and it didn't really have a separation from the bathroom to bedroom area. And so I do create a hallway here in just a little bit to the right side of the entry door. I don't know. I felt like that was kind of necessary, and I do like the floor plan. I think that helps the floor plan a lot anyway. So yeah, you guys may have seen this build because it has been up on the gallery for a long time, but if you haven't downloaded it yet or haven't seen it yet, you can still download it. I will leave a link in the description because I do that for every video. You can just go there to this the gallery website and download it, and then when next time you open your game, it'll be there. Or you can go onto the gallery when you're in your game and just look for SimLicy. I believe this is just called Archaeologist Apartment. If you look up under room builds, you should be able to find it pretty easily. But yeah, just thought I would let you guys know because sometimes I get questions on how to download my builds, but they are on the gallery, all of them. Never deleted them. They're all there. But anyway, so this is the bedroom, and as you can see, it's a pretty good size bedroom, and I do like the placement of the bed, how it's kind of over here against the wall, and I just kind of like that for some reason. It feels like it's kind of off-centered from, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, but I like it. And I end up going with this bed because it did come with Jungle Adventure, and of course I added the suitcases in here because they probably use their suitcases all the time, so they're just always out and they're just ready to be, they're probably pre-packed with stuff so they could leave anytime they get the whim to go on an adventure, is what I imagined. And then I also do end up throwing some pretty cool items in here, some of the collectible stuff that you get from Jungle Adventure. I like the gold plate and the golden frog, and I do put like one of the little frogs that are alive, I guess. I was gonna say that they're a pet, but you can't actually feed them or really care for them or talk to them or interact with them in any way except for like watch them. I guess you can view them, I think, is the interaction, which is kind of frustrating. I wish that we would get some sort of an update to make the frogs and other bugs and stuff a little bit more interactable. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I did really like adding those few extra items, and then I ended up adding another one of those city living paintings above the bed, which I really like. I think that adds some cool kind of character in this bedroom a lot. And of course the brick accent wall, it's pretty rustic looking. I liked adding that throughout the apartment. I thought that looked pretty nice. And yeah, that's the painting that I ended up adding. And then I think I do get a camera in here at some point because I imagine the Sim to take a lot of pictures everywhere of all their friends and places they go. I think that would be pretty cool. So I think if I were to play in this apartment, I would definitely add my own pictures and stuff up on the walls and make it a little bit more personalized to whatever Sim I played with in here. And then something that I do end up adding is this little ottoman over here over by the wall, which is such a cool little decoration piece. And sometimes I forget because it's in the, oh, what is it in? It's in that, what is it, comfort category in miscellaneous. I don't even, I'm not going to pretend that I know exactly where it is, but it's in its own little category. So it's kind of, if you don't remember the ottomans, like to actually go in that category, sometimes I forget to use them, but I do really like that one. I think it is very pretty, especially with that like kind of orangey zigzag pattern. But anyways, this is the bathroom. So this is the last room that I do decorate in the house, but it's a pretty nice bathroom. I think it's pretty standard to how I do bathrooms with the shower, and I guess, I don't know, there's nothing too interesting about it, but I do like that I do clutter up the countertops a lot, so it looks a little bit messy, and I did have a lot of fun using that debug basket from Jungle Adventure and putting the little, that little cluster of soaps and stuff from Vintage Glamour. I like putting that inside there. I've done that a few times, but I think it's just so pretty and I like it a lot. And I do overall think the bathroom turns out pretty nice. I do like that tile that came with Jungle Adventure with this base game tile. I think they match together really nicely. I was gonna use the Jungle Adventure tiles that came with the pack, but I felt like they were just a little bit too busy and overpowering against everything. I don't know. I felt like this apartment was busy enough that it didn't need extra busy tiles. But so at this point, I'm just going through the debug menu, trying to find extra little clutter items and little knickknacks that I can place throughout the apartment, which I definitely thought was a good idea, since I imagine the Sim that lives in this apartment to be kind of a hoarder Sim. Like, they just keep adding stuff to their apartment and filling every little nook and cranny that they possibly can. So there's stuff on the walls, on all the tables, and everything is just kind of cluttered about. And then I also end up adding some boxes and stuff by the Archaeologist table, which I thought was pretty cool because I imagined it to be just different little files and storage things that they've collected. Maybe they've done some research on some of the items they found, and they've, you know, kind of organized them in boxes and stuff. So I thought that was a pretty cute little touch. And then I do end up adding a fossil on the coffee table as like their centerpiece to the room. And that's about it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions that you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!